Some big medical news last month has the potential to impact millions of us. The American Heart Association has lowered the numbers of their definition of high blood pressure. Here to tell us what that means to us is Dr. Bradley Hupp from Gulf Coast Medical Group. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So what are the new guidelines?
Well, you know, there was a bunch of smart people that got together recently and have studied all of the facts and figures with high blood pressure and have come up with some new guidelines. And these are really guidelines that we can use now to help people control their blood pressure.
Is there a new normal?
Yeah.
There is not a new normal. The normal is still 120/80. That's the normal blood pressure. That's always been that way, and it will always be that way. But they've got some new numbers now that will help us to identify for those people that may be at risk if they're elevated.
Okay, so elevated takes us up to, it looks close to 130.
Right, right. You know, we used to have terms like borderline blood pressure and pre-hypertension, and we're not using those anymore. These new guidelines that they've come up with have really identified people that are at risk. The people that used to be considered borderline really are at twofold increase for heart attacks. So, with all these new studies that they've found, that we need to really emphasize that we need to get that blood pressure down to 120/80 or below.
And if not, you could be considered elevated, then stage 1,
Right.
then I believe it goes on to stage 2, and then obviously some serious problems. Now, why would the Heart Association change this after nearly 15 years? What's the motivation?
Yeah. Well, because they've done the studies and they've shown that those people that once used to be borderline now are showing signs of heart attacks and strokes. So they're, because of the risk, the studies are now telling us that the lower the better, and we need to be more aggressive in how we treat these people that had once been considered borderline.
So let's say I was borderline. How would it be different now if I'm now stage 1?
Yeah. Well, I think your doctors will identify if you are considered at that stage 1 level, if you have any other risk factors. If you're a smoker, maybe if you have diabetes, they may be more aggressive with you now. Instead of just saying, don't worry about it, you're just borderline, just forget about it. Now your doctors are probably going to talk to you a little bit more about it and maybe make some changes, and maybe even a little quicker to put you on a blood pressure medicine.
Well, that was my question. I like the fact that maybe we can make lifestyle changes and start to pay attention before it gets severe, but does it mean more people end up on meds?
Well, maybe. I think there are some people that are going to have to be on medicines no matter what they do. They just, as we get older, blood pressures do tend to go up. But I think if we can identify those risk factors, we can maybe get our blood pressures down without medicines.
You can control it then if you're just going into the problem area.
Absolutely.
So it goes back to the catching it early.
Catching it early.
Catching it early helps. So let's talk about the ways you manage it once you have determined that there may be an issue brewing.
Right.
What do you recommend?
Yeah. Well, it's common sense things that doctors always tell you. Exercise regularly, watch your weight, eat healthy, reduce your salt intake, watch your alcohol intake. Obviously, if you're a smoker, don't smoke. And if you do all of these things, there's a good chance you can bring your blood pressure down and you won't have to do anything. But unfortunately, sometimes medicines are needed, and we may have to put you on a little medicine. That doesn't mean that you're a failure. If you have a little high blood pressure, even despite all of that, if your doctor says you need to be on a little pill, okay, that's all right. I think that's just good common sense.
It just makes your life better?
Well, it's ultimately about living longer. We don't want you to die of a stroke or a heart attack, and if we can catch it early, that's what it's all about.
How often should you get it checked?
Well, that's a great question. A lot of times we see you once a year for your physical, your doctor gets you in, and that one blood pressure, that's not enough. Your doctor, we need more data. We need you to check it maybe at home. Buy a blood pressure cuff and check it.
What about the grocery stores?
Yeah.
Is that a reliable thing?
Absolutely.
Okay, so stick your arm in there and give it a try?
Yeah, stick it in the grocery store and check it. The more times you can check it, the better. I think it's like checking the oil on your car. You should check it frequently. So we want to take care of our engine. This is important. So get that blood pressure checked and talk to your doctor and make the changes.
All right, great advice.
Exercise, lose weight. I heard
We know the advice. Okay, you can get more information from Dr. Hupp about this and any other medical issue by going to the Gulf Coast Medical Group website. It's gulfcoastmedicalgroup.com. Coming up next, a special holiday treat from a sold-out Suncoast show. Can't wait to bring it to you.